If you've been on the news at all in the last few days, you know that these headlines have been breaking the internet. And this is a very big conversation that we need to be having because the real estate industry is making a massive change. Agents are going to have to adapt. So let's talk about what this means for you as an agent and what this means for you as a buyer or seller, because the reality is the media has it wrong. Also, if you're new here, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chloe DeVerrier. I am a real estate agent in Los Angeles. I've been in the business for half a decade. I'm also a national speaker and coach, and it's been really interesting to evaluate how this has been impacting us and how this is going to change the way that we do business starting in July of 2024. Now, to summarize the settlement agreement, essentially the National Association of Realtors, NAR, came to an agreement to pay $418 million in form of a settlement, and there were two major takeaways that are going to affect how the real estate industry is structured. Number one, buyer commissions will no longer be visually present on the MLS. And number two, if you're working with a buyer as an agent, you will need to get into a written form agreement, also known as the BRA, Buyer's Representation Agreement, to establish representation and where commission is coming from. Now, for the longest time, sellers have been providing commission for both cooperating sides. It's pretty standard in any market, but here's where everything went wrong. It's been brought to light that a lot of agents in the past, not necessarily in California, but in multiple states across the country, have never had a really clear conversation of the commission and how it is negotiable and always has been. And second of all, how that's broken down between each cooperating side. I guess a statistic came out recently that a lot of sellers didn't even realize that they were paying for the cooperating side. In simple words, essentially, this new settlement is really going to change the industry in the sense that agents are now going to have to really work to effectively communicate and bring clarity to their commission conversation. And I'm personally not worried about it because I feel like it's going to weed out a lot of agents that aren't capable of showcasing their value. And if you can't showcase your value as an agent, you're probably not doing well in this industry regardless. Now, if you're a new realtor coming into the industry, I really wouldn't be worried about it. You're starting in a time where what's happening now will become your new normal. We as agents who've been in the business for years are going to have to adjust to the new structure of how this business will be run. Now, this doesn't mean that sellers are no longer going to be offering a commission to a cooperating side. Now, of course, it's negotiable. Of course, the seller has the right to offer one or not, but any good agent that works in representing a seller will explain the pros and cons to offering a commission or offering less of a standard commission or not offering a commission at all. The whole point of a seller commission to the cooperating side is to be an incentive for agents to bring their clients to their home in order to potentially purchase it. And historically, this has allowed a lot of sellers to bring in multiple buyers in order to then negotiate and drive up that sales price. Now, this is going to bring up potential issues in the case that, yes, some sellers will now no longer want to offer a commission to the cooperating side. And that's going to bring a lot of trouble, not just to agents, but to you specifically if you are a buyer. The whole point of buyer's agency being established in the 1990s was to ensure that buyers had the right to representation when purchasing a home. The reality is, as agents, we don't just open and close a door, get your client under contract, and you get a big check in 24 hours. And let me just put into perspective, last year, the National Association of Realtors announced that in 2023, 49% of agents did one deal or less, meaning zero. Half of our agents in our industry were starving last year. So it's not like a lot of agents are waltzing home with multiple six figures in their pocket. So that's been really interesting for me to see how so many comments have been made about that online. Now, this is going to pose an issue because if sellers aren't going to be offering a commission to the cooperating side, buyers are going to have a few options if they want representation, which they should have representation because navigating a sale and a transaction is incredibly complex. There's inspections, negotiations, walking through repairs, and if you don't have experience handling that, you're going to get yourself into either legal trouble or lose a lot of money. So if a buyer wants representation, they're either going to have their agent try and negotiate with the cooperating side and say, listen, I have an offer for you. They're a legitimate, strong buyer, but we need to be offered commission. If not, that buyer might attempt to negotiate that out of the sale value, meaning home prices might get driven down versus going up. If they're not successful in doing that, then they're going to potentially have to cough up that commission out of their own pocket. Now, historically, sellers have always paid for this because as a buyer, you're already coughing up your down payment, your closing costs to tack on a commission on top of that. That is going to become incredibly difficult to afford. Affordability is going to become a huge issue in our country. It already is a huge issue, and now it's going to become 10x of an issue because a lot of buyers can't afford representation and to bring all of those closing costs to the table. So I really don't see how this benefits anybody. Buyers are not going to be able to get representation in some cases. And if they are, they might be paying significantly more out of pocket than any other buyer or seller has done in the past. And sellers might witness decrease in activity, decrease in interest, potentially homes selling for less than they would have if they were offering a commission. And there's going to be a lot of legal trouble potentially opening the door with all of these changes in the real estate industry. It's really unfortunate that we've kind of gone in this direction because, like any other industry, there's good apples and bad apples. As an agent myself, I've always been incredibly clear when it comes to commission conversations and how it's split between two sides. These are my personal fees. These are the pros and cons of offering this for the cooperating side. And you as a seller ultimately have that decision on how you want to approach the sale. Now, none of this goes into effect until July of 2024. Until then, it will be an adjustment period as agents to learn the new ways to navigate this business. And I really think we're going to see a lot of unknowns kind of come up throughout this time and navigating it and seeing the consequences of it long term. I have a feeling that after a couple years, there's going to be another adjustment in our industry because this is going to be opening up a lot of problems for a lot of people. At the end of the day, people are going to interpret the settlement the way that they want to, what speaks to them. Some people have never believed in representation, and that is okay. But a lot of people, most people in this world understand the importance of having someone guide them through the process of transacting on a home. And so with that being said, we will really see how this plays out long term. But if you are an agent, don't worry about it. Learn to adapt. We are constantly adapting in this industry. And if you make it through, that just proves that you know what you're doing, you're good at what you do, and you're willing to do the work to survive in a very constant changing environment. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it brought clarity to what's happening with our real estate industry. And this is only towards residential industry right now. But with that being said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment them down below. I'll be happy to answer them.